football fans, I've got a glaring admission to make. I think Liverpool might win the league next year. And I know I've said this with Arsenal as well. And I think actually we could see a battle between three teams, which for the Premier League is great, ridiculously healthy. But right now, Arsenal are in a strong position. Manchester City are obviously in a strong position, albeit a little bit weaker than last year. The team who I think are silently sort of creeping up on everyone, or they were until about 3 weeks ago, when all of a sudden they went from being bankrupt to a huge amount of money being spent on Szoboszlai, and obviously McAllister come in as well, is Liverpool. They are looking increasingly stronger. Their midfield is revamped, and I think they're actually going to probably make a couple more signings before the start of the season. And one of those signings we need to go into a little bit more. We need to talk about why I think it's probably the most important part in Liverpool's squad as to why and how they might return to the top of the Premier League. But before we get into it, make sure to like and subscribe. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers before the start of the Premier League season. That's pretty much a month to go. Now, in terms of where Liverpool are at, they've had their whole midfield pretty much removed, and Henderson, I would say, is in the autumn of his career, and they have now recruited a World Cup winner in McAllister and the captain of Hungary, a young goal-scoring midfielder in Szoboszlai. Now, that's probably not everything Liverpool need to do to return to the top of the Premier League, but they're definitely moving in the right direction. What I'd say is that they were very strongly linked with Bellingham for a period of time, probably before he moved on to Real Madrid. And I think most Liverpool fans would have been over the moon if that happened. But I actually think it's almost probably worked out better for Liverpool fans and Liverpool as a football club, because Bellingham wasn't 3 players in one. I think he's an extremely good player, but he isn't Scholes, Gerrard, Lampard rolled into one. And I think if you look at Liverpool's midfield, they need more than one area addressing. And I actually don't know if Bellingham is up to that task. What I would say is, if Liverpool can go and get their hands on a player like Tchouaméni to add to this midfield, then their midfield looks ridiculously scary. They were very closely linked with him before, and there are rumours that because of certain arrivals to Real Madrid, that the likes of Valverde or Tchouaméni could be available to depart if the fee is right for Real Madrid. Now, that one's unlikely. Let's talk about one for Liverpool that's important that they improve on, an area that probably has cost them in recent season, and that is their defence. Their defence, ever since that moment when Jordan Pickford clattered into Virgil van Dijk, hasn't ever looked the same. He's probably never ever looked the same. He's now 32. Will he? I'm not sure. So it'd probably be fair to say that he is their left-sided defender, and that's probably the area of weakness I say Liverpool have most. If they move Trent Alexander-Arnold into midfield, then I think they do have an issue at right back, even though they probably have a slight defensive issue at right back. They need to recruit well in that area, I'd say. But that's easily done. I think there's probably an abundance of fairly good right backs floating around Europe right now that would fix Liverpool's problem. In terms of defence, there is one clear, outstanding option for Liverpool that I think might happen. And as a Chelsea fan, with the current hype around this player, it pains me a little bit with the amount of departures we've had at Chelsea. But a video come out that we need to talk about. It was Noni Madueke and Levi Colwill. Noni Madueke was certain he was going to be the man to bring Levi Colwill back to the bridge. Levi Colwill looked ridiculously awkward, and he was someone in that moment that just didn't want to be there. As Levi Colwill was told by Noni Madueke that he would be the man to bring Levi back to Stamford Bridge, back to Chelsea, Levi Colwill said, "You're an idiot." And that was pretty much the end of that discussion that we saw. We don't know where that's gone anywhere else. What I will say, though, is Liverpool should be jumping at that conversation. Levi Colwill is the ideal replacement for, maybe not for Van Dijk, but the solution to Liverpool's defence. And I think if Liverpool can go and get Levi Colwill from Chelsea for the right fee, because believe me, it's going to be high, But the fact of the matter is, though, he isn't signing a contract. He's come out and publicly said that he doesn't want to sign that contract yet. He wants to see where his future's at with Chelsea. And on evidence of that video, probably doesn't see that he has a future there, and Twitter antics as well. So Liverpool right now should be rubbing their hands together because of the contract that Levi Colwill has. His price won't be as high as what Chelsea could probably demand. Now, in terms of why I think that would fix Liverpool's defence, he is a ridiculously good, outstandingly confident ball-playing defender. Everything Virgil van Dijk once was. Albeit, Virgil is, and it's probably almost wrong to compare the two right now, but I do think he's probably the heir to Virgil van Dijk's throne for Liverpool. I feel like Konate could get himself into a better spell of form and probably show Liverpool fans why you bought him in. And I feel like those two together could look and shape up the future of Liverpool's defence. Obviously, let's not write off Van Dijk just yet. A few poor years don't mean that his career is gone. He could rekindle it. So if he was moved to the right-hand side of the defence and Levi Colwill was to come in alongside him and cement in a few games, because the key thing here is Liverpool keep chopping and changing that defence. They have done since that Van Dijk injury. If they can find a partnership again that is allowed to form that trust that Liverpool once had in their defence, I think that will solve so many of their problems. Their attacking selection is arguably one of the best in the league. They have a great player in every position. Not necessarily the best in the league in every position, but that isn't always needed. If 3 of those front 6 that Liverpool had can chip in with 20 goals a season, which I think actually is fairly possible if Gakpo is allowed to play, if Darwin Núñez finds form, if Diaz finds form after that injury again, and Salah will no doubt hit 20 goals, I think actually Liverpool could quite comfortably be moving up the table far quicker than they did last season. So, how do Liverpool mould this new team? Well, quite simply, time. Liverpool instantly probably won't be a success in the Premier League this season, but after a few months of learning how each other play, learning that grueling Jurgen Klopp system that he likes the team to play and moulds them to, after Christmas, I think we will see a Liverpool side that are increasingly dominant in their games. The midfield will be clicking. They'll be learning how to win possession back like it did before. And the defence, whether or not that contains Levi Colwill, who I think would be the absolute perfect replacement for Liverpool, would be moulding and learning to trust each other and winning games and fighting for games and seeing that there's potential throughout the rest of the team for this team to really go somewhere. And the fans at Anfield would be getting behind Liverpool like they do and believing that anything is possible like they always do. I think all of a sudden that looks like a really, really good mix for Liverpool to be back in amongst it. And I know people say, oh, they're such hypothetical circumstances for Liverpool to achieve next season, but really I don't think they're that far away. It was only the season before last they were fighting on all 4 fronts. A very different looking team now, you'd probably say. The front 3 is most similar to what it looked like in years gone by. But I think they're not that far away. And as a Chelsea fan, that worries me even more because I feel like we're seeing Liverpool, a team that we were level with at one point pretty much in the season last year, move away from Chelsea again in terms of signings and ambition for the start of the next season. So, let me know what you think. I'm not a Liverpool fan. I don't watch Liverpool week in, week out like a Liverpool fan would. They're on TV an awful lot though, and I've watched an awful lot of Liverpool's games. Let me know who you think Liverpool need to sign to return to the top of the Premier League table. Are they a million miles off it? If you like the content, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.